The screen of my iPhone lit up with a number I hadn't seen in 2 years. My hands trembled slightly as I stared at it, memories flooding back of that devastating night when everything fell apart. Mark's name flashed insistently, demanding attention just like he always had. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Hello? My voice was steady, calmer than I felt. Sarah? Mark's voice cracked. He sounded different, desperate, broken. Nothing like the confident man who'd walked out on me 2 years ago after gambling away everything we built together. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and at 34, I was listening to my estranged husband cry into the phone after destroying our life savings and abandoning me with crushing debt. The irony wasn't lost on me. I've made a huge mistake, he sobbed. I should never have left. You have to let me explain. I gazed around my office, my real estate office, to be precise, taking in the awards lining the walls, the stack of closing documents on my desk, and smiled. 2 years ago, this conversation would have shattered me. Now it was just another Tuesday afternoon. Sure, Mark, I said, keeping my tone neutral. Let's meet. We can talk about everything. He exhaled sharply, relief evident in his voice. Really? God, Sarah, thank you. I knew you'd understand. You always understood. That's what he counted on. My understanding, my forgiveness, my tendency to see the best in people even when they showed me their worst. It's what had kept me with him through the small lies that became bigger, through the investment opportunities that drained our savings account, through the credit card debt he hid until it was too late. Cafe Luna, tomorrow at 2. I suggested, naming the coffee shop where he'd first told me about cryptocurrency, his eyes shining with dreams of quick riches. We can discuss everything there. Yes, perfect, he agreed quickly. I'll tell you everything, explain about the crypto market crash, about DeFi Max, and how they promised. Tomorrow, Mark, I cut him off. We can talk about it all tomorrow. After hanging up, I leaned back in my chair, my mind drifting to that night 2 years ago. I'd come home from my job as a middle school math teacher to find Mark pacing our small apartment, his face ashen. It's gone, he'd said, his voice hollow. All of it. DeFi Max. The platform collapsed. They took everything. I'd stared at him, uncomprehending at first. What do you mean, everything? Our savings, the house down payment, the investment accounts, he'd swallowed hard. I thought I could double it, triple it. The returns they were promising. The room had started spinning as the magnitude of what he was saying hit me. Nearly $200,000. Every penny we'd saved over 8 years of marriage, gone in a crypto scam. But that wasn't even the worst part. There's more, he'd whispered, unable to meet my eyes. I took out some loans, credit cards in our names. I was trying to recover the losses, make it back before you noticed. $50,000 in credit card debt. He forged my signature, opened joint accounts, maxed them out chasing his crypto dreams. And now he was running away, leaving me to deal with the aftermath. I can't face this, he'd said, grabbing his pre-packed bag. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I'd watched him walk out, too stunned to cry, too numb to stop him. The next day, I'd learned he quit his job at the tech startup where he worked. His phone was disconnected. He'd vanished, leaving me with nothing but debt and broken promises. But that night, sitting among the ruins of our life together, something had shifted inside me. I'd always been good with numbers, had always understood the power of compound interest and smart investments. I tried to tell Mark that get-rich-quick schemes never worked. That patient, strategic growth was the key to building wealth. He'd never listened. He wanted fast money, crypto millions, the excitement of high-risk trading. And now here I was at 32, starting over with less than nothing. The next morning, I called in sick to work and started making plans. First, I contacted a lawyer who specialized in debt and divorce cases. Then I called my brother Mike, who'd been in real estate for years. I need a change, I told him. I need to rebuild, and I need to do it my way. Mike had listened, really listened, as I laid out my plan. I'd always helped him with the financial aspects of his real estate deals, understanding market analysis and investment potential. Now I wanted to do it myself. You'd be great at it, he'd said. But what about the teaching job? The benefits, the stability? I'll keep teaching for now, I'd replied. But nights, weekends, I'm going to study for my real estate license. I'm going to learn everything I can about property investment, about building real wealth. And I did. For 6 months, I worked my teaching job, studied real estate in every spare moment, and systematically negotiated with creditors to manage the debt Mark had left me with. I lived on rice and beans, sold everything I could, and put every extra penny toward paying down those credit cards. I got my real estate license on a Wednesday. By Friday, I had my first listing through Mike's connections. A month later, I had 3 more. It turned out my teaching skills translated perfectly to real estate. I could break down complex market data for clients, help them understand their options, guide them through the biggest purchase of their lives. Within a year, I paid off half the credit card debt through commissions and careful budgeting. 6 months after that, I opened my own boutique real estate firm specializing in investment properties and first-time homebuyers. I understood their fears, their dreams of building something secure. I'd lived it. Now, sitting in my office 2 years after Mark walked out, I was debt-free and running a successful business. My firm had just closed its 100th deal, and I had a waiting list of clients drawn to my reputation for honest, strategic investment advice. My phone buzzed with a text from Mark. "Thank you for agreeing to meet. I have so much to tell you." I smiled, picking up the manila envelope on my desk, the one I'd been saving for just this moment. Inside were documents that would show Mark exactly what I'd built while he was chasing crypto fantasies. Tomorrow at Cafe Luna, he'd learn that sometimes the slow, steady path was the one that led to real success. And maybe, just maybe, he'd finally understand what he'd walked away from. I opened my laptop and pulled up the latest property listings. I had a client meeting in an hour, a young couple looking to buy their first home. They'd saved carefully, done their research, and were ready to build their future the right way. Cafe Luna hadn't changed much in 2 years. The same rustic wooden tables, the same artisanal coffee menu, the same large windows overlooking downtown. I arrived 15 minutes early, choosing a table in the corner where Mark and I had once planned our future overlaps and dreams. I set my leather portfolio on the table, along with the manila envelope. My real estate company's logo, Mitchell Properties, was embossed in gold on both. A small detail, but one I knew wouldn't escape Mark's notice. He walked in at exactly 2 p.m., and I barely recognized him. Gone was the designer suit, the expensive watch, the carefully styled hair. Instead, he wore wrinkled chakis and a faded polo shirt that had seen better days. His face was thinner, with dark circles under his eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. "Sarah," he breathed, stopping short when he saw me. "You look amazing." I did look good, I knew that. Success had given me a confidence that no designer clothes could match. My navy blazer and silk blouse weren't just expensive. They were earned. "Sit down, Mark," I said, gesturing to the chair across from me. "Would you like some coffee?" He slumped into the seat, running a hand through his unkempt hair. "I actually can't afford." "I'll get it," I cut in, signaling the barista. "Still take your Americano with an extra shot." He nodded, looking almost ashamed. Once our drinks arrived, we sat in silence for a moment, the weight of 2 years hanging between us. "Sarah," he started. "Let me go first," I interrupted, opening my portfolio. "Before you tell me whatever you came to say, I want to show you something." I pulled out a series of photographs, laying them on the table one by one. Beautiful homes, modern office buildings, luxury apartments, all properties I'd helped clients buy or sell over the past 2 years. "These are just a few of my recent deals," I said calmly. "Mitchell Properties specializes in investment real estate. We've closed over 100 transactions in the past year alone." Mark's eyes widened as he looked at the photos, then at me, then back at the photos. "Mitchell Properties? You started your own company?" I nodded, pulling out more documents. "After you left, I had 2 choices. I could let your mistakes destroy me, or I could rebuild. I chose to rebuild." His hands trembled slightly as he reached for his coffee. "The debt? I know I left you with $50,000 in credit card debt," I finished for him. "Yes, you did. Would you like to see how I handled that?" From the manila envelope, I extracted a stack of credit card statements, all stamped paid in full in red ink. I laid them out one by one, watching his face as realization dawned. "That's impossible," he whispered. "How did you?" "The same way anyone builds real wealth, Mark. hard work, smart investments, and patience. No crypto scams, no get-rich-quick schemes. Just strategy and dedication. I pulled out my company's latest financial statement. Mitchell Properties is now worth more than we ever had in savings. The difference is, this wealth is real. It's built on actual property, actual transactions, actual value. Mark slumped in his chair, his coffee untouched. I don't know what to say. When everything crashed with DeFiMax, I thought, I couldn't face you. I couldn't face anyone. So you ran, I said, my voice steady but cold. You left me to deal with the debt, the creditors, the shame. Do you know what that was like, Mark? Having to explain to everyone why my husband had disappeared. He flinched at my words. I was a coward, he admitted. I've spent the last 2 years trying to recover, trying to make it back, but everything I touched turned to dust. Every investment, every opportunity. Because you're still looking for the easy way, I said, pulling out one final document. You haven't learned anything. What's that? He asked, eyeing the paper warily. Divorce papers, I replied, sliding them across the table. Already filled out, just waiting for your signature. His face crumpled. Sarah, please, I came back because I still love you. We can start over, rebuild together. I've changed, I swear. I studied him for a moment, remembering all the times I believed his promises, all the times I'd given him another chance. But I wasn't that person anymore. You want to know the biggest lesson I learned after you left? I asked, leaning forward slightly. Real value isn't about quick returns or crypto millions. It's about building something sustainable, something that helps others while helping yourself. I tapped the stack of property photos. Every one of these transactions represents a family finding their dream home, an entrepreneur starting their business, an investor building their portfolio the right way. That's real wealth, Mark. That's real success. He stared at the divorce papers, his hands clenched in his lap. I have nothing, he said quietly. No job, no savings, nowhere to live. I've been staying on friends' couches, barely getting by. I thought if I could just come back. You thought I'd save you, I finished, like I always did before. But I'm not here to rescue you anymore, Mark. I'm here to finally close this chapter of my life and move forward. Mark's hands shook as he reached for the divorce papers, his coffee now cold and forgotten. What if? He swallowed hard. What if I told you I have a lead on recovering some of the DeFiMax money? There's this lawyer who specializes in crypto fraud. I held up my hand, stopping him mid-sentence. Are you seriously trying to pitch me another scheme right now? The familiar glint of desperate hope in his eyes told me everything. He hadn't changed at all. He was still looking for the easy way out, still trying to chase phantom riches instead of building something real. It's not a scheme, he insisted, leaning forward. This lawyer, he's already helped other victims recover their investments. We cold. There is no we anymore, Mark. I interrupted, my voice firm. And there's nothing to recover. That money is gone. But that's not why you're really here, is it? He fell silent, unable to meet my eyes. I waited, letting the moment stretch until he finally spoke again. I saw the article about you in Business Weekly, he admitted quietly. Your company's expansion, the new development project downtown. When I realized how successful you become, you thought you could come back and benefit from everything I've built? I finished for him. The same way you once thought you could get rich quick with crypto. Tears welled in his eyes, but I felt nothing. No pity, no anger, just a calm certainty that I was finally closing the door on this chapter of my life. I was proud of you, he said, his voice breaking. Reading about everything you've accomplished. I realized what a fool I'd been, throwing away our marriage for. Stop, I said firmly. You weren't proud of me, Mark. You were envious. There's a difference. I pulled out one more document from my portfolio, a cashier's check. His eyes widened when he saw the amount, $50,000. This is the exact amount of debt you left me with, I explained, placing the check on top of the divorce papers. I'm offering you a chance to do one right thing. Sign the papers and the money is yours. What's the catch? He asked, suspicion creeping into his voice. The catch is that you disappear from my life completely. No contact, no attempts to reconnect, no trying to leverage our past relationship for your benefit. You take this money and you do what you should have done 2 years ago, start over. And if I don't sign? I smiled, gathering my photos and documents back into my portfolio. Then I proceed with a contested divorce and sue you for the fraud you committed by opening those credit cards in my name. My lawyers have built quite a case, including proof that you forged my signature. That's felony fraud, Mark. Want to guess how many years that carries? The color drained from his face. You wouldn't. The Sarah you knew 2 years ago wouldn't. I agreed. But I'm not her anymore. You taught me a valuable lesson when you walked out. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them face the consequences of their actions. His hands trembled as he reached for the pen I'd placed on the table. For a moment, I thought I saw a flash of the man I'd once loved. The one who'd made me laugh, who'd dreamed big dreams with me on Sunday mornings. But that man was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized. As he signed the papers, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. It was really over. The check won't bounce, he asked, and I almost laughed at the irony. Even now, he was worried about being scammed. Unlike crypto tokens, Mark, real estate generates real money. The check is good. He stood up, clutching the check like a lifeline. I really did love you, Sarah. No, I said softly, you loved the idea of me, the supportive wife who would always be there to clean up your messes. But that's not love, Mark. That's dependence. After he left, I sat there for a while, finishing my coffee and thinking about the journey that had brought me here. The night he'd walked out had felt like the end of my world, but it had actually been the beginning. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica, my newest agent. Client meeting in 30 minutes. The Hendersons are ready to make an offer on the downtown property. I smiled, gathering my things. The Hendersons were a young couple, reminded me a bit of Mark and me when we first started out. But unlike us, they were doing things the right way. Careful planning, thorough research, no shortcuts. As I drove to my office, I thought about the check I'd just given Mark. Some might think I was crazy, giving him money after everything he'd done. But I knew it wasn't really about him. It was about me, about finally cutting all ties with my past and moving forward without any loose ends. The next morning, I stood in front of my team at our weekly meeting. 20 ambitious real estate agents, all drawn to my firm's reputation for integrity and smart investment strategies. Remember, I told them, our job isn't just to sell properties. It's to help people build sustainable wealth, to guide them towards smart decisions that will serve them well in the long run. There are no shortcuts to success, but there is a proven path. Later that day, I received a final text from Mark. Thank you. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on my computer screen, where I was reviewing plans for our newest project, a mixed-use development that would bring affordable housing and small business spaces to a struggling neighborhood. This was real value, real impact, real success. The manila envelope with the signed divorce papers sat on my desk, ready to be filed. Next to it was a framed copy of the Business Weekly article Mark had mentioned. The headline read, "From Teacher to Real Estate Mogul, How Sarah Mitchell Built a $1 Million Empire from Nothing." But they got it wrong. I hadn't built it from nothing. I'd built it from lessons learned, from hard work, from the ashes of broken dreams and betrayal. And in the end, that made it all the more valuable. I opened my calendar to check my next appointment. Another client meeting, another chance to help someone build their future the right way. This was my legacy now, not the money or the success, but the knowledge that I was helping others avoid the mistakes I'd learned from. The sun was setting over the city skyline, casting a golden glow through my office windows. From up here, I could see several properties I'd helped clients purchase, each one representing a dream realized through patience and persistence. Mark's final text still glowed on my phone screen, but I deleted it without a second thought. Some chapters need to stay closed, some bridges need to stay burned, and some lessons need to stay learned. Besides, I had work to do. Real work, building real value, one property at a time.